Mega Von and everybody on YouTube. This is Poteen and I am doing a rotation video on the Blue Line Mariner, which is the Shanty column. All right. So the first things I'll go through is class traits, virtues, the LIs, and then a rotation. So the Shanty Caller is oh, if you like the content and stuff, please don't be afraid to put a like on there. I'm usually putting videos out every Friday night after midnight Central Time. If you have suggestions, if you want to see certain rotations, please leave them in the comments. I will get around to them. I'm not the greatest or fastest at getting to them, but I will eventually. So the Shanty Caller is sing shanties to coordinate and motivate allies. Now this is what I would consider the more bulky, not a tank, but the tankish line of the Mariners. So the Mariner is what I personally think is one of the best single target DPSs in the game, especially in red and yellow, but even in blue, pretty sturdy, does a lot of damage when you go down the red line. So the mechanics of the Mariner is obviously they have this bar over here. So this is like a balance bar. The right side is going to be your forward position or your damage position, and the left side will be your blue line or aft position. So kind of like a ship, but I really like to think of it more like fencing. So when you're going into the forward position, it's like fencing and going forward really heavily, really on your front foot. And then the aft is going back into more defensive stance, leaning backwards. Why I like to use that analogy is if you go forward too far and you hit up into this, second jewel, this, I guess it's the third one. If you're in this from the first to second jewel, this is where you start to get your buffs and stuff. Up in here, you do get buffs, but it becomes very dangerous in the fact that you can be stunned once you max out. Same thing with the aft position. Buffs up in here, usually defensive buffs. Same thing here, the biggest defensive buffs, but obviously more dangerous. So what you're going to use is the recenter button, which can only be triggered after using one of the finisher. So once you use a finisher, then you can recenter it and put it right back in the middle. You do have some toggle abilities, which kind of over time moves the pips to either the forward position or the aft position. So that's the mechanics of the Mariner. Another thing is the skills themselves have multiple effects depending on which ability you use afterwards, which I'll get to once we get to that. So right now I have 2 into firm footing, which is going to be the steady movement. So when I'm in the steady position, I move quicker. 1 with the sea. This is combat is like the sea for ebb and flow. So 5 +5 temporary balance buff duration. So that's kind of nice. And then I am using motivating song, which is going to be a big heal that I'll probably use only on the signatures, but we'll see. I mean, not the signatures, the bosses. Stormy Seas. You are able to remain unbalanced state for longer before you are forced to re-steady yourself. So you can stay in an extreme state a little bit longer without being stunned. That's a nice one, especially when you see how I kind of rotate. I'll go red line first, then I'll go blue line and recenter. Well, I guess I'll go red line, recenter, go blue line, then use the red line to push my aft position towards aft. I guess my forward position towards aft, if that makes sense. You'll see what I'm talking about. So I actually won't be recentering through my second rotation. I'll recenter the first time. I will not recenter. I'll use the red abilities to move it towards the forward position instead of using my recenter, because the recenter has a 15-second cooldown and it won't be off a cooldown until then. Sometimes you'll see me linger in the blade shield or step back just until I'm trying to get disengaged, because disengage is going to be my huge mitigation and heal. And I'll show you where that works into. What is this? Oh, in heartening songs. So shanties will restore morale and effects, which you'll see that there. Cleansing blade, 100% chance to increase target's incoming damage when removing a corruption. Strugicide blows, so my step back damage is reduced by 10, which you'll see here. Light of Spirit, incoming healing modifier, so my heals are a little bit stronger. South Wind, this is one I do use, and with that one ability up there, all of my wind abilities also have a 63. Well, I guess it changes on your level, but a initial morale, and then every 3 seconds for 9 seconds, a hot. The Frigid North Wind, which the North Wind now critical defense is reduced. I haven't been using the steady melee chance, Keen Sight, maybe. So Keen Sight gives the steady balance effect and bonus chance to critically. You know what? I guess I will, because I will be. I'm in there not all the time. Relaxing Wind. This calls on one of the winds where restores some of your morales and 2% self healing from wind shanties. So the wind shanties I do use quite a bit. Wind shanties also have a 5+5 to its duration. Um, so marked foes is one you'll see me use. I usually open up with it. You'll see why that's done. It also gives an increase in damage. And with swordplay, whatever abilities are behind it will also increase. Known by the heart, so my shanties now have reduced cooldown. Uh, Guided by the stars is another one that's great. Increases a lot of my deep or my buffs, my finesse, single target healing, critical chance. It is have a long cooldown, but because it's all technically a wind or a shanty, it also has that buff I was talking about, a little heal. Booming Voice calls upon the North Wind's rousing, so the North Wind increases the damage of your allies by 5%. So, I mean, that's the cooldown, or that's the blue line I'm using. I'm gonna go into Natural Explorer once I max out all of this, so that my vitality's up, and I am using Shocking Counterattack, and 100% chance for advance to stun when used after repost. Now, those are kind of important to know what ability you choose to use after certain things, because you will get effect. So you're going to get an effect immediately when using a ability, but then whatever ability you use after that, you will get an additional effect that can be changed depending on what ability follows whatever one. Okay, so on the sides here, this is when you unlock these certain lines. You will access these. So the first one, and these are all passive. Some aren't, but most are passive. Inspiring Presence. Your swordplay finisher inspires allies, pushing them to deal more damage. So obviously, buffing people around them. Shanty buff duration increased by 5. The West Wind, which is another one I'll use here. Defensive posture, so temporary damage reduction afterward balance. So once again, just to kind of, when fighting defensively, you are able to be more efficient reducing incoming damage. That's why you'll see me linger on some of the blues, why I'm trying to wait for disengage to come up. Buoy and Winds, which is the West Wind buff potency, and then South Wind buff potency is increased by 10, West Wind by 5. Call of the Banner of War. You will see me use this too. This is this one, but these all have kind of a longer cooldown, but they all also, because their shanties, have that buff of initial heals and hot. So same thing here, but it increases my damage by 25%. Also, it pushes, so the attunements are important down there. It pushes the attunement over 4. And then the breaking of Thogor Rodrim. Also another one that does a lot of damage. Also does the heal because it's a shanty. A bunch of incoming damage stuff for them, so it debuffs them. And it also has that heal on it. Okay. So for virtues, I'm going with a more defensive build just to kind of stay a little more alive. Obviously, I'm soloing. It will also work in a group, because you will be given buffs to all of the people around you. So that's kind of nice. It's kind of like a red line captain. So I'm using Charity, which is going to be physical resistance, physical mitigation, and some vitality. Discipline, same thing, resistance, incoming healing rating, physical mitigation, and some morale. So Justice, incoming morale regen, or in combat morale regen, max morale, and tactical mitigation. This one's going to have vitality, armor value, incoming healing rating, and then idealism, which is fate, incoming healing rating, maximum morale. So I'm using those just to kind of, get myself a little boost when I'm healing myself. Okay, so next will be LIs. So LIs, I have, this one I'm going to be using a sword and obviously a bag. So for this one, I'm using Heraldry of the Ox, so it's Might and Vitality. Once again, I said this is more of a tanky build, so that's why I'm kind of doing that. Single target heal crit, Shanty skills healing, sword play healing potency, wind skill cooldown, and I'm using empowered parry. The reason I'm increasing my parry is Blade Shield is a parry ability. Then the same thing here. I'm just switching up a little bit. I'm doing Heraldry of the Bear, healing over time because all of my abilities are hots. I mean, there is an initial heal. Bottle healing, toss of bottle cooldown, defensive swordplay buff duration, and then another parry response. Okay, so that is my virtues, my traits, and my allies. Okay, so for the rotation here, obviously, I'm going to explain a little bit. It'll be a little over-explained because of how kind of complex and different the abilities are for Mariner. So marked foes, um, so it's going to have an initial damage of 500 to 600 damage. Then it's going to have incoming damage plus 5 on them for 5%, and 10% area effect attack damage. But if I follow it by aggressive strike, I also increase that by 20%. Now that duration will stay on for 20 seconds, so I have until 20 seconds to do this next ability. Whenever the next ability I do, I will gain the 20% aggressive strike as long as it's within that 10-second duration. So I am going to follow it with thrust. Now, if I used aggressive strike, I could, but I'm going to use thrust because it's also going to do area effect damage. But there's a reason why I'm going to do this, okay? Thrust will give me initial damage. If I follow it with advanced damage, I get 30% damage. If I follow it with a single target attack, 10% damage. If I follow it with aggressive strike, 25% damage. So I'm going to follow it with aggressive strike. So because I use thrust, when I use the next aggressive strike ability, I will gain 25% damage, also 10% single target damage while thrust is on. Once the aggressive strike is used, then I will gain the 25% to the aggressive strike. So already 800 to 1,000 damage plus the 25%. Okay, that's how that works. So with aggressive strike, if I use cutover damage, I'll get 50% extra damage or 15% for finishing skill crit chance. But I'm going to follow it with repost. Now, I know these ones aren't lining up, but there is a reason I want to use this. I want to use thrust with aggressive strike. Now, I want to use repost, and the reason I want to use a repost is when I use it, I use advance, yes. I'll have 100% stun, and advance will do 30% damage. So you can see why, and this is just in blue line, why once you start figuring out where you want to put your rotations and what abilities you want to follow after, why they're so damaging on single target. Because this stuff can add up very quick. So with repost, if I use advanced damage, I get 30% increase. Also, I get 30 or 100% chance for advance to stun your opponent after repost. Or if I use marked foes damage. But I'm going to actually use advance. Now, once again, the reason I'm using advanced first is because I want that 100% stun. And then I'm going to use advance. Now, with advance, it's 2 damage. Plus, I'm getting that 30% damage increase because I use repost first. Then I'm also going to get 100% chance for repost to stun my opponent because I use advanced, okay? Now, with advanced, I could go finishing skill or I could go dramatic flourish critical. So if I'm not taking too much damage, I will go right up into my finishers, which I have 2 finishers. And that will increase my finishing skills by 50%. If I'm taking a little more damage or I have multiple pulls, I will throw North Wind on first because it's going to give me a hot. I'm going to do a little bit of damage. It's going to increase my damage to my raid around me for 5%. And also it's going to increase, it's going to decrease their time they attack will be increased, but also critical defense will be decreased. So it's a debuff. Then I'll use Dramatic Flourish. Once again, I'm trying to use this so I can get the Dramatic Flourish critical chance over here. But if I'm taking too much damage, I'll use North Wind first. Otherwise, I'll just use Advance and then jump up into Dramatic Flourish. Now, Dramatic Flourish is a finisher. So I can use, as you see there, it says Swordplay Finisher, enables Recenter. So I can use Recenter after this. What's neat about this, I don't have to. I can actually bury. So I will bury my attunement meter by using both of them, but that's fine because I'm going to recenter afterwards. Also, I have that ability where I have more of a grace period before I get stunned. So for this one, I'll get a heal, applies to raid, a critical chance to raid, 4% damage to raid, so it's a really huge buff. Then I'll use lunge, which is also another huge damager. Also does negative 3 seconds to chanty cooldowns. That's awesome. Also a buff of 4% to my raid. And then I'm going to recenter because I will bury it after this. So after that, if I haven't killed the mob, or what you're seeing here, because I am a higher level, there will be these worms that spawn with every signature. At least the solo ones that walk around. So I will go into heal after that. So on guard, which is an ability that you can use anytime. But it'll give me +1 melee critical chance, and it makes me run 7% faster. Just run speed. So what's neat about this, same thing, red line, whatever abilities used after it kind of gives you another buff. So think of it like you get a buff for a duration of 10 seconds. Then whatever ability you use after that, you get that ability's increased. So it's just an automatic effect that happens when you switch to another ability. And as long as they line up with each other. I mean, some of them don't, like aggressive strike and repost don't do nothing with each other. But it's fine because of how I have it set up. So on guard is one one of the only skills that you have to be in the balanced, which is in between these two jewels. So you will see it go away once I start to go into the forward position too far, or I go past this jewel in the aft position. So what I'm going to use here is, this is kind of neat. So I get the run speed, but for 15 seconds. But for 5 seconds, I will get power. I will get blade shield parry chance 50%. Or if I use thrust damage after this, I'll get 100%. Now, the reason I'm doing this is I'm going to sink my blue so I can get this heal at the end of this little line here. And then I'm getting Blade Shield. Now, Blade Shield will give me 25% or parry chance for a duration of 8.4 seconds. Now, that's important because I'll show you what's going on here. So with On Guard, I'm getting 50% Blade Shield parry chance. Then for this one, when I use it, as long as I use it within that 10 seconds, I will get parry chance of 25%. So for 4.8, if I do it immediately, for 4.8 seconds, I will have 75% parry chance, which is why you saw with my LIs why I put parry at the bottom. Now, whatever I use after this, if I use repost, I'll get 50% damage, but I'm actually going to use step back damage reduction, so I'll get 15% plus the step back damage reduction that I have here, which is 10%. So 25% for 8.4 seconds. I will have step back damage reduction of 25%, which is why you'll see me linger on these for a bit as I'm waiting for either disengage cooldown to come off or recenter. Because for 8 seconds, I'm basically blocking, not everything, but almost all the damage that's coming in. So you will see me linger on these. Now with step back, I get 25% partial evade chance, but also 10% incoming melee damage to range, tactical, and melee. Once again, what I said is neat about it is for that 8.4 seconds, I will actually have 25%. And then I'll use disengage. As you can see here in the yellow, swordplay, disengage gains a heal, and repost will enrage the target. But I'm going for disengage. Disengage will heal. Also, it does 10% physical and tactical mitigation for 13 seconds. I also get a run speed buff for 8.4 seconds and 4% damage. Now I'm going to want to recenter because this is a finisher. Then I want to recenter. But once again, like I said, you won't see it until later. I also have, so I'll just go through these real fast. This is Belly of Brine. This is what removes diseases, poisons, effects. I do have, this is a racial trait, yes. So I don't really use it all that much because there's a 5-minute cooldown. You will see me use Toss the Bottle quite a bit. And then the Shanty, you'll see me use Motivating Song, usually when I'm at the bosses. Now, another thing is I have these Shanty buffs up here. They're a little bit longer, but they give big buffs. So Call of the Banner of War is going to give me a 25% damage increase. Also that hot, which is right now 30 or 63 morale initial, and then 126 every 3 seconds for 9 seconds hot. Same thing here, breaking Thomgor Roderim. It's going to give increasing damage, 25%, increasing damage with enemies affected within 10 meters to 10%, and I get that buff. And then the next one, Guided by the Stars, which you will see me use on the bosses, is another one. It gives single target healing, critical chance, incoming healing modifier, critical defense chance, and finesse rating, and then also that heal I was talking about. So the wind, south wind, if you see me kind of waiting for cooldowns, I'll throw these on here. Obviously, the same thing. Going to give me run speed and a hot. And then the west wind is the same thing. These are all shanties, by the way. All of the 5 I just mentioned are all shanties. Same thing, 15% damage with the hot. There is an ability I use here called the sludge pot. So the sludge and the pots, I guess the pots in general, are mostly a yellow line build. They're awesome. Obviously, I've done videos on them, and I'll go in a more in-depth video in the future. But these are nice to throw for pulls and stuff. I think that's about it. I think it is. So let's get started here. We're going to go in. We're going to fight the first one. I'm probably going to go red line first, then go into my yellow or my blue. I guess what? Chain line? I don't know what to call it. So you'll see what I'm talking about here. I'm going to go with all the red lines. So I'm going to go all the way to 5. And yep, if it comes out, then I'm going to use them because I get bigger bonuses. Recenter. Now I'm going to go into my blue line because I want to heal. Boom. Once again, the recenter's not there, so I'm just going to use my red abilities just to kind of pull them back here. Same thing. Now, once again, you're going to see me linger on this one right here because I'm waiting for the cooldown. So I have the Evasion one. I'm waiting for Disengage. Boom. Now I'm going to recenter because I healed myself. And now we're going to go sink right back into this. Once again, finishers. There we go. Now I'm going to use this to kind of pull my meter back down. Okay. I'm going to heal myself. Okay, so the recenters are ready. We're going to go do it again, and we're going to heal ourselves, disengage, and recenter. Boom, and then we're going to fight until we kill the wolf. Boom, that's it. Now, if stuff's high at the end of battle, I will use these because you don't really need anything. You can target something and use them. I will do it to bring my meter back down so it's not up in here and I'm not have a chance of stunning myself. Okay. Now same thing here. We're gonna do the same thing, but with this build, it's not about speed or killing stuff fast. It's about killing stuff efficiently with a rotation that's kind of slower than what a Mariner's normally used to. We're gonna throw a pot. We're gonna keep him in the pot. We're gonna try to kill this guy before we get him. There we go. And that time, because there's multiples, I did use the wind. We're gonna disengage. There we go. That gets us a heal. Mark the foe. I might have to use the pot. We'll see how it goes here. Same thing. We're gonna just hover. Heal ourselves. I stunned my stuff because I stayed up in the blue too long. But that does happen. Alright, we're gonna recenter. Nope, I didn't stun myself. I apologize. I'm better than I thought. Alright, we're gonna just stay and step back because we want that disengage heal. Boom. Now we're gonna finish it. Same thing here. Boom. And then see, because I'm high, I'm just gonna use the parry blade shield and just drop back down. That could have went a lot better, but I was messing. Once again, you can just look above your head too to kind of see where your abilities are. So when the little triangles come up, see the little squares above my head? That lets me know I'm recentered. The bottles come back pretty quick, so I will use my bottles. I mean, I think both are less than 100. Alright, we're gonna heal here. We're waiting for disengage. and now we're gonna recenter again. All right, let's throw a bottle just to make sure we're safe. Then we're just going through the blue line there. We're not trying to get disengaged again. We were just doing it so that we had buffs while we're waiting for the red to come off a cooldown on my red abilities. So that's it. There's always a skeleton coming. All right, let's try to pull. So the same thing here. We're gonna pull with a pot. There he comes. The bloated ones are gonna blow up. Kind of what I want them to do. And the other ones are gonna be killer. All right, we're gonna go for the healer. There we go. Let's try to stink our red line. That'll give us access to our finishers here. There we go. That's what we want. Now we're going to recenter. There it is. Now we're just waiting for this to go. So that time I waited off a little bit because I was reading how much damage I was taking. Because it does take a little while to go through your blue line to get to your heal, which is disengage. You're going to want to kind of feel it. If you can't really do that, then you want to use your bottle and your melody. There he is. What's up, hot stuff? So same thing, we're going to go red chain first, which is 1 through 5. Hopefully that gets it up there so I can use my finishers, and then recenter. There we go. Saw the recenter come. Oh, we're going to have an ad. Alright. Now you might get to see what I'm talking about here. I'll probably use some of my bigger abilities. My wins and my shambles. Go. Alright, same thing. We're going to run through here. We're going to recenter after that heal. Alright, let's drop. Once again, we're going to do this. We're going to linger. Going to throw a little. There we go. Once again, I'm just mitigate damage right now until I can get to my disengage and heal myself, and then reset. So there is a moment in between the rotations where I'm kind of just lingering in between stuff. Just kind of waiting for the mitigation and stuff to come back. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to use that one. I'm going to recenter myself, then go back into a heal. Then I'm going to use red line to drop my meter back down to the 4 position, or to the 4 area. Now, since all this is back, I'm going to use blade shield. That I might wait a little bit. There we go. Once again, I'm lingering a lot on this ability right here, which is step back. So when I say linger, I mean I'm waiting for either my red rotation to come off a cooldown, or I'm waiting for disengage to come up, or recenter to come back up, so I can recenter and you know, increase my damage for fight for red area or blue area, or fore and aft positions, I guess. Oh yeah, I fought 2 there. I remember now. So we'll see how it goes. We might just fight the one boss, and then see how she goes there. Once again, we're gonna just go red line. There we go. Recenter. Heal ourselves. Try to fight ourselves back. There we go. Alright, I'm gonna throw a little bottle on there. That'll help. Alright, now we'll just go down red line again. Now once again, you don't get the buffs if you're in the aft side doing red line damage, but you know. So recenter is going to be like your biggest buffs of damage, or your biggest heals, because everything kind of gets buffed defensive if it's in the aft or the blue side, or if it's in the red side, you're going to do more damage fighting. All right, so I think we got that good. We'll go back to these guys. We're going to go over here and fight a little bit. We're just clearing it up just to kind of show more and more of what we're capable of. Now, once again, I'm in the aft shanty. Because I want my aft abilities up when I want them. Alright, we'll just do this. Even though I wanted to do it after advance. But alright, here we go. Now we're going to get our heels rolling here. As you can see, disengage is about to come back up. So as I'm waiting, I'm going to heal. Yeah. Now we're going to go red line again. Alright, now I'm going to go back into a defensive stance. Once red line starts to, become off of cooldowns again, then I'll start to go back into fighting again. But once again, I'm just doing blade shield and step back, just as a way to kind of a filler, I guess, in between my rotations. All right. Well, that's not cool. All right, here we go. We're just gonna do this. See, now we got blade, so that's up to, and then boom, and reset. All right, here we go. Oh no, so another thing is I can do Alt 2, and that will, because it's a big buff to my damage, and it also moves my meter towards the forward position. I can use it as a way to get heat into those lower abilities now. Once again, I'm just doing this as filler. I'm just going to stay on step back for a bit. Wait until like marked foe comes off. And then just run the red line again. Okay. So what I would means there is when I use this one, as you can see down here, my attunements go to 5. So I used it as a cheat. I just did it so I could tank or go all the way into here so I could access my finishers and recenter myself. This one does 4 to the forward position, or the aft position. This one does 5 to the forward position. This one does 5 to the aft position. So it's kind of important to know these, where they move to, so you can access them and cheat when you want. Like I did Alt 2, knowing that would tank my red line, so I could access all my abilities. Okay, I'm gonna recenter. Now I'm gonna go into my heal, which is on guard, blade shield, step back, and then finally disengage. Disengage after step back is my heal. Obviously, I have bottles and stuff, but because those are always on shorter cooldowns, I'm going to use the disengage to heal more than anything else. Like right now, I'm just going to set step back, watch disengage come off cooldown, and then go to there and recenter. Because I know as I start to do more damage on my red line, my abilities will be more accessible. Like right here, I'm going to be able to access my finishers here. There we go. And that's going to finish it. Then I'm just going to recenter because I have nothing else to do. Okay? So, you'll probably see me do the same thing If I want to heal myself, I'll probably use Alt 1. If I want to increase my damage, I'll use Alt 2. Once again, they're on longer cooldowns, so I try not to use them if I don't have to. Alright, same thing here. And as you can see, when I'm just in my balanced mode, my meter is kind of cheating over to the aft side, and that's because of this toggle I have called Shanty Steady, and this is Steady Forward, Steady Aft. Alright. I recentered. There we go. That's what I want. Now these finishers are coming. Now I'm just going to recenter. There we go. Same thing I'm going to access because I know disengage is off. Boom. Then I'm going to use my red line to climb towards the 4 side. But even technically the bounce. Because of how it went down. Now I'm going to go back into here. I'm going to use step back. This time I might use my meter. It depends. If I go any lower in health, then I will use a bottle to heal myself. But it doesn't look like it. So I'm going to go into here. I see that it's back. I'm going to go disengage, recenter myself. There we go. So as you can see, too, the buffs linger up here for a while. And this lets you know what you can follow it by if you want. All right? Now, once again, the Inspired, too. So the damage I get from those ones that say raid, I actually get those buffs myself, too. If I was in a raid, it would get all of the people in the raid. Some of them are just meters, so like 40 meters. And then some of them are raids, no matter where they're at, you will get the same thing. All right, so same thing here. We're going to go here. We're going to try to finish the guy first. Now, this one, I will probably go into the winds because I want that tiny little hot on there. I'm going to recenter. I'm going to do that blade. I'm going to do disengage. And now I am actually going to get that poison off me. Disengage healed me, and now I'm going to try to climb towards the 4 position again for a bit. But without that, I'm going to go back into Blade Shield and Step Back, because I'm waiting for cooldowns to come off. Alright. For this one, I think I'm just going to go right back into there and recenter. So I did actually wait for the heal there. Sometimes I will wait for just the red line to come back, and then I'll drop down in the damage. But that time, because I'm taking a little extra damage, I was like, you know what, I'll just wait. Alright, we're going to try to kill somebody here. See if we can't recenter ourselves. Oh, okay. So now we're just going to go back into here. And go Blade Shield this. Now we know Step Back and Disengage are there, so there's a heal. Now we're going to see what we can do after we recenter here. There we go. Oh, not right. We're very close to getting our finishers, which is what I'm looking for here. No, we didn't need it. But I could have, right? I was trying to wait to get a finisher so then I could recenter again, but I could have just went for the heal there too instead. It didn't really matter. Alright, here we go. Once again here, I'm going to go for the heal first. Just because I was at half health. Now resetting myself. Now I'm going to go for there we go. We'll get some finishers on there. Beautiful. I'll go with 6. Boom. Same thing. I'm going to now just linger and step back. And what I'm doing now is heal myself. There we go. Disengage. Step back. And now we're going to get... We did not get it that time. There we go. We got disengage. Boom. Now I'm going to go back in here because I want to drop my 4. I don't want to stun myself. I'm going to linger and disengage a bit. That's tough. I'm doing it. I'm going to go red line. See, there so when I set and disengage, or I set and step back, I can decide if I want to wait for disengage, seeing how much damage I take, because it does mitigate quite a bit fast, especially when you do Blade Shield and disengage, or step back. Sorry. Blade Shield and step back. When you do that, you are buffed kind of so well, you can decide if you want to just run red line, or if you want to heal yourself first and then recenter. Alright. So, yeah. you'll see. I mean, obviously, as you're playing, you'll feel it. You'll feel like anything, like any MMO. You can feel if like DPS isn't picking up in a raid and stuff. Same thing here. You will feel when you want to do what you want to do. So right now we're gonna go back in here. Oh, we got a blade shield. We got disengage. We got heal. So because I use my recenter on my red line wand finishers. Put a little hot on there. We're gonna set and step back. We're gonna see what we want to do here. I think I'm probably gonna run red line again because I'm not really taking damage. Wait for disengage when this. Now I'm gonna go into blade shield, step back, disengage, recenter again. Now I'm gonna run red line. And why I mean that, I mean the red abilities I have, which is 1 through 5. Blue line is to C1 through C4. Once again, I'm just gonna kind of linger on here, wait for some cooldowns to come off. So, like I said, it is a more patient build. You're really just kind of feeling every battle out, especially once you start to get into your blue line. You're just seeing how much damage you're taking. There we go. Same thing here. I'm gonna go with red first. Alright, now I can see this little damage aura, so I'm gonna recenter, go to this, do a little disengage. That'll also let me get all my reds off cooldown. Now I'm gonna go through red again. I don't think I'll have enough because I went so far in the aft side. Once again, I'm just gonna blade shield, step back for a bit, wait for something to come off a cooldown, either the heals or my red line. There we go. Now same thing here, I'm going to do on guard, blade shield. I can set this for 10 seconds, but this one does, step back does more mitigation. And then I can set here for a bit, heal and with disengage, and recenter myself. Now start doing damage. Okay. Yeah, so the big one will be the next ability here, or this next little fight, especially with the boss. Alright. This guy's gonna come. It's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get real ugly. Yep, there we go. Okay, so once again, I'm gonna throw. Okay, we're gonna do that. I'm gonna try to fight back with red line, so I don't have my blue line so messed up. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is do this. Okay, so I'm gonna throw a bottle. It's gonna be a heal. Another one here. Disengage is about to come off cooldown. Heal. Once again, I still have some shanties and some wins. Alright, we're gonna do a shanty. Ooh, 9. I'm waiting for my disengage. There we go. Alright. We're gonna try to go for finishers here. I'm gonna go for this buff, which was my alt 1. And I'm gonna wait for disengage to come back, run the rotation, heal myself, recenter, and then run red line. Once again, he's gonna have a worm come out because that'd be crazy if he didn't. And now I'm gonna set and step back for a bit. Alright, now I'm gonna run it again. There we go. Heal myself with disengage and run. Recenter, run red. Alright. There we go. So that was obviously an awful pull. Okay. Same thing here. I still got guided by the stars, which is kind of my big. If I'm in a lot of trouble, I can recover a lot of heals with that. The shanties, every shanty I'm doing has hots on them. So what we're going to do is wait for this to kind of cool down a little bit. I am going to attack him. He's going to have 2 mobs come up, so then I'm going to figure out what I want to do then when that happens. But I'm probably going to go pretty heavy into blue just to kind of keep everything cool. I wish I had an ability to kind of stun him, but I don't. So here we go. I better wait. You know what? I'll wait for these alts to come offline. Alright, first thing I'm going to do, take these guys out. Alright, now we're going to go into disengage, heal. Alright, we re-centered. Let's run red line again. We're going to hit finishers here. And then run back into blade, shield, and parry. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for... disengage. There we go. Get my heals. Recenter. Run red again. This is obviously going to be a nasty little number here. Boom. Alright. Same thing here. I'm going to just throttle these back. I'm going to run alt. Alright. We'll recenter in here. Gonna recenter. I'm gonna throw a little winds on here, which is gonna give me a little hot. Now we'll wait for him to go green. Once again, we're gonna recenter. Okay, we're gonna wait for it to fight back. We're gonna throw bottle on again. We're gonna recenter. There it is. Now he's green. And I've saved my disengage heal back. Alright. We're going to try to finish them before the little worms come and eat us. Okay. Okay, we got this guy going. Oh, so close. Alright, we got our bottle back, right? Bottle. Alright, now we're going to disengage. And then we're going to recenter. Alright, now we're going to run. These again, we're waiting for the other worms. When the other worms come, they're going to actually blow up. That we don't want. Okay, same thing. Here they come. So we're going to buff ourselves with the blue line. We're going to go with all 3 because we want this big buff. Okay, now we're going to recenter. We're going to finish this worm off. We're going to go into this one. Hopefully we get, yes, finishers. That's what we want. Okay, so we're still good. To toss the bottle. We still haven't used our shanty again, so we're good there. I'm going to set and step back for a bit. We did it. And then I'm going to use my finishers here. And I'm going to use this to just kind of pull my ability back. Okay. Now did that, I mean, hopefully that's it. We're going to go through the rotation one more time. And then that should be it. So, once again, what I'm using is I'm going red line first. So marked foes. I'm using marked foes because I like the marked ability on there. Its incoming damage is increased. Then I'm following it up with thrust. The reason I want to do thrust is I get aggressive strike damage by 25%. Then I'm following it with aggressive strike. After that, I'm using repost. The reason I want to use repost is I'm going to follow it up with advance. Advance is going to give me 30% more damage plus 100% chance to stun my opponent after using repost. I'm using advanced because this gives me bonus to finishers and dramatic flourish critical chance. so I can go up in the air if it's just single target. Usually that'll finish it with lunge for sure, and then I can recenter. If I have multiple targets, I will go all the way to 6 because I want that hot rolling on me, and I want that 5% damage when I start to go into flourish, lunge, and recenter. After that, I'll recenter. Then what that does is puts my meter in the middle there. I'll go on guard because I want the buffs from Blade Shield, which is right here next. And the reason I use Blade Shield is I want this buff to match up with Step Back. And then the Step Back, if I use Step Back, when I use Disengage, I'll get a heal. Usually Recenter is not ready by then. It has a 15-second cooldown. Then I'll go Red Line again, depending on which ones are off cooldown. If for some reason the recenter is back, then I'll use that too because I want to try to get in between these 2 meters for sure, these 2 diamonds on either side because that's where a lot of the buffs are. Once again, if I get in trouble, I have Toss a Bottle, which is going to give me a heal. Also, less than a minute cooldown. Less than a minute cooldown of Motivating Song, which I do use occasionally. Just depends on what's going on. South Wind. So all of my shanties, which there are 5 of them here, there's going to be Call of the Banners of War. It also shifts me to the aft position for attunements, but this will give me 25% damage. Also gives me a hot. This one is breaking of Thagororum. Sorry, I'm butchering that. And this will give me a meter or attunement to 5 to the 4 position or the damage side. Also, I get increased damage from all of these, or they take increased damage, and I get the hot. Because if it's a shanty, I get the hot. That's just through my traits, my class traits. Guided by the Stars is a great way to buff up my heals. I love it. I use it sparingly, but it increases the heals I'm about to receive. And then that also gives me a hot. These are ones I sprinkle in for hots too, which is South Wind and West Wind, but they also do the attunements to the blue side. This one does obviously 5 to my aft side or blue side. This one is just, I like to pull with it. It reduces their damage and their skills. Inductions are increased, so I like that. This is just, I did use this one, but it's just a racial one. And then I have this for Belly of the Brine to get diseases off. Oh, you didn't get to see it, but Sea Legs does break movement stuff. Dazes, stuns, roots, things like that. So I think that's about it. Yeah. So if you have any questions or anything like that, do not hesitate to comment. If you like the content, please subscribe. I'm on Twitch from Tuesday to Saturday, usually on Lord of the Rings. On Mondays and Sundays, I'm playing The Elder Scrolls Online. And then on Saturday nights from 7 to 9 Central, I am on the official LOTRO stream. I think that's about it. So I want to thank you guys so, so much. And may the hairs on your toes grow ever longer. Thank you guys again for watching.